Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something real quick. Success ain't magic, and it surely ain't luck. It's work every single day. You don't stumble upon greatness. You discipline yourself into it. I don't care who you are or where you come from. There are 10 things you must work on every single day if you want to live the life you keep praying about. Discipline shapes your destiny in more ways than most people realize. It's not just about routines or staying organized. It's the very foundation of transformation. Every dream, goal, and vision you hold in your heart is only as strong as the discipline you apply to pursue it. Discipline is the difference between wishing for something and working for it. When you understand that, your entire approach to life changes. It's easy to talk about success, but real success requires daily effort. It requires showing up when you don't feel like it, pushing through even when the results aren't immediate. Discipline says, I will stay committed to what I said I would do even when the mood has left me. That's where the power is. Every single person who's accomplished anything great has had to master the art of discipline. Talent may give you a head start, but it's discipline that carries you across the finish line. Think about it. How many people do you know who had potential but didn't follow through? How many people started something strong but couldn't stay consistent? That's what separates those who achieve from those who just admire from the sideline. Discipline is about controlling your habits, and your habits determine your direction. If you want to change your life, change what you do daily. It's not about big moves once a year. It's about small actions repeated every day, no matter how you feel. Discipline doesn't wait for motivation. In fact, it doesn't need it. Motivation comes and goes, but discipline is steady. It's like a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it gets. At first, it feels uncomfortable. Waking up early, choosing healthy food, working on your goals after a long day, it's not always easy. But over time, those difficult choices become your new normal, and that's when transformation begins. You start to see results. You start to feel different. You build self-respect because you know you can trust yourself to follow through. That's one of the greatest rewards of discipline. It builds inner confidence. People often look for shortcuts, hacks, or secret formulas, but the truth is simple. You must do the work every single day. And that work begins with you being disciplined enough to do the hard things, especially when no one's watching. That's integrity. That's commitment. That's what creates excellence. You may not see the payoff immediately, but every act of discipline is a deposit in your future. It compounds, it builds momentum. And before you know it, you live in a life that once seemed out of reach. Discipline also brings clarity. When you live a disciplined life, you eliminate distractions. You become more focused. You stop wasting time on things that don't matter because you know where you're headed. That clarity is powerful. It gives you an edge because while others are chasing every shiny object, you're locked in. You're grounded. You're building something real, brick by brick, day by day. There will always be temptations to quit, to take the easy route, to compromise. That's when discipline becomes your shield. It protects your purpose. It reminds you why you started in the first place. And the more you practice discipline, the easier it becomes to say no to what doesn't serve you and yes to what does. It becomes part of your identity. You're no longer someone who dabbles. You're someone who commits. You're someone who finishes. You're someone who grows, improves, and keeps going no matter what. Mindset is everything because the way you think determines how you live. Your entire life experience is filtered through your mindset, and it shapes the decisions you make, the chances you take, and the way you respond to success and failure. You can't achieve greatness with a mindset that's small, negative, or fearful. Everything starts in your mind. If your thinking is limited, your results will be limited too. If you keep telling yourself you're not good enough, smart enough, or capable enough, then you'll start believing it, and your actions will reflect that belief. The mind can either be your prison or your power. The choice is yours. What you focus on grows, and what you believe in becomes your reality. That's why you must protect your mental environment the same way you protect your home. You wouldn't let a thief walk through your front door. So why allow negative, defeating thoughts to settle in your mind? Every single day, you have to renew your thinking. You've got to take control of what's playing in your head. If you're not speaking life to yourself, the world will speak fear and failure into you. You've got to decide that you are worthy of success, worthy of love, worthy of purpose. That decision begins with your thoughts. A strong mindset doesn't mean you never struggle. It means you learn how to respond to struggles with growth and resilience. Life is going to throw challenges at you, no doubt. But when your mindset is strong, you stop seeing problems as dead ends and start seeing them as opportunities to grow, to learn, and to level up. That's the shift that separates people who rise from people who stay stuck. Developing the right mindset requires consistency. You have to train your mind the same way an athlete trains their body. You read, you learn, you surround yourself with uplifting voices, and you stop feeding yourself doubt. Sometimes that even means distancing yourself from people who drain your energy or plant seeds of fear in your head. It means being intentional about the content you consume, the conversations you engage in, and the way you speak to yourself. Your internal dialogue is powerful. If you keep telling yourself you can't, your brain will find ways to make that true. But if you say you can, if you say you will, your actions will follow, and soon, so will the results. A powerful mindset is also about vision. You must be able to see beyond your current situation. You have to believe that where you are is not where you're going to stay. That belief pulls you forward when things get tough. That belief keeps your dreams alive when everyone else is counting you out. The mind that believes it's possible becomes the fuel for action. Because once you see yourself achieving something in your mind, you start to move toward it in real life. That's why visualization is so important. Athletes, performers, and leaders all use it. They see the win before it happens, and because they see it, they feel it, and because they feel it, they act on it with boldness. One of the greatest battles you ever fight is in your mind. It's the battle between fear and faith, between excuses and effort, between past pain and future promise. Every day, you wake up with the power to choose which voice to listen to. Will you listen to the one that tells you you're not ready, that it's too hard, that it's never going to happen? Or will you tune into the voice that says you're built for this, that you've overcome too much to quit now, that your story isn't over yet? A growth mindset doesn't avoid failure, it uses it. It doesn't run from hard times, it faces them and grows stronger. Your mindset is the soil and your life is the crop. If you want to grow something powerful, you have to plant the right thoughts and water them every single day with faith, belief, and action. Gratitude attracts growth in a way that few people truly understand. It's not just about saying thank you for the obvious blessings. It's a mindset, a daily practice, a lens through which you see the world. When you live with a grateful heart, you start noticing what's working instead of constantly focusing on what's missing. You shift your attention from lack to abundance. That shift is powerful because where your attention goes, your energy flows. If you spend your time dwelling on problems, setbacks, and disappointments, then you invite more negativity into your life. But when you focus on what you do have, what is going right, and what you've already overcome, you create space for even more blessings to flow your way. Gratitude turns everything you have into enough. It takes your mind off what other people are doing and reminds you that your journey is yours alone. It silences comparison and invites peace. The moment you start appreciating the little things, a smile, a breath, a roof over your head, you become more open to receiving the bigger things. That's because a grateful person is a magnet for opportunity. Gratitude shifts your energy, your tone, your presence. People want to be around someone who radiates thankfulness. It's infectious. It creates connection, trust, and joy in relationships, both personal and professional. Practicing gratitude every day keeps you grounded. When life gets chaotic or overwhelming, gratitude becomes an anchor. It reminds you that even in the midst of struggle, there's something to be thankful for. Maybe it's a lesson you learned, a new door that opened after another one closed, or the simple fact that you're still standing. Gratitude don't deny the existence of problems. It simply refuses to let those problems steal your joy. It tells the world, yes, I'm going through something, but I'm still thankful to be alive, to be growing, to be moving forward. The most successful people in the world didn't get there by complaining. They got there by appreciating the journey, even when it was hard. They found ways to celebrate progress, no matter how small. And that's the secret. Gratitude helps you celebrate while you build. You don't have to wait until everything is perfect to feel thankful. In fact, the more thankful you are right now, the faster you'll attract the breakthrough you've been working for. Gratitude turns your waiting season into a preparation season. It allows you to enjoy the process, not just the prize. Another powerful thing about gratitude is that it changes your perspective. When you practice it regularly, you start seeing challenges differently. What once looked like a setback now looks like a setup. What used to frustrate you now teaches you. What you once took for granted now becomes precious. That change in perspective affects your decisions, your attitude, and your overall quality of life. Gratitude expands your heart. It helps you forgive more easily, love more deeply, and live more freely. You don't need to have everything figured out to be grateful. You don't need millions in the bank or a perfect life to stop and say thank you. Gratitude is available to everyone right now. It starts with noticing. Take a moment to acknowledge the things that didn't have to go right, but did. The people who supported you when they didn't have to. The inner strength you didn't know you had until life tested you. These are the things that deserve recognition. These are the things that remind you how far you've come. Gratitude isn't just a feel-good emotion. It's a growth strategy. It keeps you humble when success comes and keeps you hopeful when setbacks hit. It trains your mind to focus on what matters most. When you live in gratitude, you stop chasing validation and start walking in confidence. You begin to attract more of what aligns with your purpose. Gratitude is a mindset, a choice, and a discipline that when practiced daily will unlock a level of peace, joy, and abundance that can't be shaken by circumstances. Your relationships matter more than you realize because the people you surround yourself with have the power to influence your thoughts, your emotions, your behavior, and ultimately your destiny. Every connection in your life either feeds your growth or drains your energy. You become like the people you spend the most time with, whether you know it or not. That's why it's so important to evaluate your circle. Who's in your life? What kind of conversations are you having? Are they lifting you up or pulling you down? Are they helping you become the person you're trying to be? Or are they keeping you stuck in who you used to be? These questions matter because relationships are not neutral. They either push you forward or hold you back. Many people underestimate the power of their environment. They keep toxic people around out of loyalty, guilt, or fear of being alone. But the truth is, your future is too important to be weighed down by relationships that no longer serve your growth. You have a responsibility to protect your energy, your peace, and your dreams. That means setting boundaries. That means choosing to be around people who challenge you, inspire you, and encourage you to keep going when you feel like quitting. You need people in your life who see the greatness in you, even when you can't see it yourself. You need people who tell you the truth with love, not those who flatter you to keep you comfortable in your dysfunction. Healthy relationships are built on mutual respect, trust, and growth. They're not about perfection, but about progress. You don't need to agree on everything, but you need alignment in values, vision, and direction. You need relationships where you can be vulnerable without judgment, where you can dream out loud without being laughed at, and where you can share your fears and still be reminded of your strength. Those are the kind of relationships that become a source of fuel for your purpose. They keep you grounded, focused, and motivated. Sometimes growth requires separation. As painful as it may be, there are seasons when you outgrow certain relationships. It doesn't mean you're better than anyone else. It simply means you're on a different path now. And if someone is no longer walking in the same direction as you, it's okay to let them go. Letting go doesn't mean hate. It means love from a distance. It means you've decided to prioritize your purpose over your comfort. Because the longer you stay in the wrong company, the harder it becomes to become who you were meant to be. But relationships aren't just about what others do for you. They're also about how you show up for others. Are you being the kind of person you want to attract? Are you supporting, encouraging, and uplifting the people around you? Are you being honest, dependable, and kind? The energy you give is often the energy you receive. You can't expect loyalty, growth, and inspiration from others if you're not willing to give it first. Relationships are two-way streets, and every connection requires intentional effort, communication, and consistency. When you start investing in the right relationships, your life begins to change. You become more confident, more secure, and more empowered. You're no longer carrying the weight of toxic dynamics. You're walking with people who help you rise. And when the storms of life hit, and they will, it's your relationships that will either hold you together or tear you apart. That's why you must choose wisely. Your inner circle should be a reflection of where you're going, not a reminder of where you've been. Surround yourself with visionaries, with encouragers, with builders. Surround yourself with people who won't let you settle, who remind you of who you are, and who speak life into your dreams even when they seem distant. Work on your gift every day, because your gift is the one thing that sets you apart from everyone else in the world. It's that natural ability that comes easy to you but amazes other people. It's the thing you were born with, the talent or skill that God planted deep inside you before you even knew who you were. That gift is your lane, your purpose, your path, but having a gift is not enough. You've got to recognize it, respect it, and most importantly, develop it. Too many people waste their gift because they either don't believe in it or they expect it to shine without any effort. A gift without development becomes potential wasted. You don't become great because you have a gift. You become great because you sharpen it daily, because you give it your time, your energy, and your discipline. Every person has something unique to offer the world, but the people who rise are the ones who take their gifts seriously. They don't sit back waiting for someone else to discover them. They show up every day and put in the work. They practice, they study, they improve. They fail, but they learn. They keep showing up even when no one's clapping, even when the results are slow, even when doubt tries to creep in. That's how you honor your gift. That's how you multiply. You can't expect the harvest if you don't sow into your own purpose. Your gift grows as you grow. It stretches when you stretch. It rises when you rise. But if you ignore it, it fades. That's the truth people don't want to hear. Working on your gift doesn't always mean working in the spotlight. Most of the growth happens behind the scenes, in the quiet moments, in the repetition, in the discipline of doing it over and over again until it becomes second nature. The grind that no one sees is what produces the results that everyone admires. It's in the early mornings, the late nights, the skipped parties, the sacrifices. The world often applauds the outcome, but rarely respects the process. But you got to fall in love with the process if you want to make the most of your gift. Your gift was never meant to sit on a shelf collecting dust. It was meant to be used to bless others, to inspire, to solve problems, to create impact. When you work on your gift, you create doors of opportunity that talent alone cannot open. Talent might get you noticed once, but consistency gets you remembered. It earns you trust. It earns you influence. It earns you a seat at the table. And when you get that seat, it's your gift that keeps you there. That's why working on your gift is a daily responsibility. You don't have to be perfect, but you do have to be committed. You don't have to know everything, but you do have to be willing to learn. Every single day is a chance to be better than you were yesterday. A small improvement compounded over time turns into mastery. And mastery opens doors that shortcuts never will. Your gift is also your answer to someone else's problem. That's why you can't take it lightly. Somebody out there is waiting on what you carry. Somebody needs your voice, your idea, your service, your solution, but they can't receive it if you don't deliver. That's why you've got to show up, even when you're tired, even when you're discouraged, even when it seems like no one's paying attention. You're not working just for recognition. You're working because it's your calling. You're working because it's your assignment. You're working because you were created for a reason, and your gift is the evidence of that reason. Faith fuels action in a way that nothing else can. It's the invisible force that drives you to keep moving forward, even when the path isn't clear. Faith is not just about believing in a higher power. It's also about believing in yourself, in your purpose, and in the unseen possibilities that haven't shown up yet. It's easy to act when everything's working, when the money's flowing, when the support is loud and visible. But faith kicks in when things get quiet, when doors close, when the results aren't lining up with the effort you're putting in. That's when real faith is tested, not when things are going smooth, but when you've got every reason to give up and you still decide to keep pushing. Faith is what keeps you showing up when logic says there's no point. It's what helps you take that next step, even when you don't know how it's all going to work out. When you have faith, you're not relying on external proof. You're not waiting for the perfect plan or the perfect moment. You move based on conviction, not convenience. You trust that if you keep going, something will shift. You believe that what's ahead is greater than what's behind, and that belief gives you courage. That belief gives you endurance. Faith doesn't mean fear disappears. It just means fear doesn't get to be in charge. It's the voice inside that whispers, keep going, when everything around you is screaming, turn back. It's the fire in your soul that refuses to be extinguished by doubt, failure, or delay. Faith sees beyond the obstacle. It focuses on the outcome. It's not blind. It sees clearly, just from a different perspective. Faith pushes you into action because it demands movement. You can't claim to believe in something and then sit still. Belief without action is just a wish. But when you truly believe, your behavior changes. You start showing up differently. You speak differently. You plan, prepare, and persist because you expect something to happen. That expectation is powerful. It sets the tone for your life. If you expect failure, you won't even try. If you expect setbacks, you'll sabotage your own growth. But if you expect favor, if you expect progress, if you expect breakthrough, you'll start doing things that align with that expectation. You'll take risks. You'll stay consistent. You'll sacrifice comfort in the name of purpose. The thing about faith is that it doesn't eliminate challenges. It transforms your response to them. When you're walking in faith, you stop seeing problems as roadblocks and start seeing them as training grounds. Every trial becomes preparation. Every delay becomes redirection. You start trusting that everything is working for your good, even the stuff that doesn't make sense right now. That kind of faith is dangerous to doubt because it refuses to quit. It's resilient. It's unshakable. It keeps you grounded in purpose when everything around you is shifting. Faith reminds you that you're not alone, that your story is still being written, that what looks like the end might just be the beginning of something greater. You don't need to have all the answers to have faith. You just need to take the first step and trust that the path will unfold as you move. That's how journeys begin, with one step powered by belief. You don't wait for the perfect time because there is no perfect time. Faith creates its own moment. It says, I may not see the whole picture, but I trust that something bigger than me is guiding this. And because of that trust, you act. You build, you try, you stretch, you grow. Faith makes you bold. It makes you brave. It turns ordinary people into extraordinary leaders, creators, and difference makers. It transforms doubt into drive and fear into focus. Faith doesn't just fuel dreams, it activates them. It puts legs under your vision. It moves you from thinking to doing, from hoping to building, from surviving to thriving.